Hello, and welcome to Somniora Mind. I'm glad you're here. Here's a paradox to carry into tonight's long, slow drift. In a few minutes, most of you will do something scientists still can't fully explain, something you've already done every single night of your life without ever needing to think about it. So here are 3 quiet questions to fall asleep inside of. Why does your own name slip through the noise of sleep when almost nothing else can? Why do so many of us, across every culture on Earth, dream of flying or of losing our teeth? And what would it mean if the story unfolding in your mind tonight was never really random at all, but something closer to a very old kind of rehearsal? Here's where we begin, with a fact worth sitting inside of. Somewhere in a sleep laboratory, not so long ago, a person lay perfectly still, eyes closed, fully asleep, and researchers asked them a question. And the sleeping person answered. Let that settle for a moment. Not a flicker, not a coincidence. An actual, repeatable exchange carried out entirely inside a dream. Tonight, we're going to wander slowly through the strange, generous science of dreaming, how it works, what it seems to be for, and what it quietly reveals about the mind you carry with you into sleep every single night. Get comfortable. Let your shoulders soften into whatever is holding you. Let your breathing slow into something long and unhurried. This is a long, gentle road tonight, so there's no need to rush any part of it. When you're ready, let's step in. We still don't know, with any real certainty, exactly what dreaming is for. It's one of the most enduring open questions in all of neuroscience. We understand a great deal about the mechanics, sleep stages, brain rhythms, the chemical tides that rise and fall through the night. But the actual purpose behind dreaming has never been fully settled. Some researchers believe dreams help the brain strengthen memories, something like quietly pressing save on the events of the day. Others think dreams let us process emotion, replaying difficult experiences in a safer setting so we wake feeling calmer than we fell asleep. Some propose dreams are rehearsals for danger or practice sessions for social situations. Others see them as a spark for creativity, fusing fragments of memory into something genuinely new. It may be that all of these are true at once, shifting with age, stress, and circumstance. What does seem certain is that dreaming isn't meaningless. It's a window into the brain's nightly work, even while the full purpose of that work stays, for now, quietly out of reach. That mystery hasn't stopped scientists from finding remarkable ways to peek inside it. Researchers have actually managed brief, real exchanges with people who are fully asleep and dreaming. The method relies on lucid dreaming, the state where you know you're dreaming while it's still happening. Volunteers learn a simple code before sleep, moving their eyes left and right in a specific pattern to signal awareness once they become lucid inside the dream. Once that signal appears, researchers ask questions using soft sounds, lights, or gentle touches, and the dreamer responds with more eye movements or small facial twitches. In some cases, dreamers have solved simple math problems or answered yes or no questions, all while still fully immersed inside the dream. These conversations are brief, closer to trading signals than speaking, but they prove something remarkable. The sleeping brain is not sealed away from the world. Awareness can exist inside a dream, and information really can move back and forth in something close to real time. Even outside the lab, the sleeping brain keeps listening in its own quiet way. Smell connects more directly to memory and emotion than any of our other senses, and that connection stays open even during sleep. In one experiment, people were exposed to the scent of roses while experiencing something pleasant while awake. Later, researchers introduced that same scent while the person slept. When nightmares occurred, the rose scent gently softened them, fear and tension eased, and the dream's overall tone shifted towards something calmer and safer. Most people never actually dreamed about roses at all. The scent simply, quietly, changed the emotional color of whatever story was already unfolding. It's a small, hopeful finding, a hint that gentle sensory cues might someday help ease the intensity of recurring nightmares, a subtle nudge toward comfort delivered directly into sleep. The sleeping brain doesn't just receive signals passively, either. It can actually be guided. Researchers have found a way to strengthen one specific memory using nothing but sound. Before sleep, a person learns something new, like a set of word pairs, and each item gets linked to a distinct, quiet tone. Later, while the person sleeps, scientists replay just one of those tones. Without waking the sleeper, the brain hears the cue and reactivates the associated memory. By morning, whatever was paired with that particular sound is remembered noticeably better than everything else that was learned. This process, called targeted memory reactivation, doesn't implant anything new. It simply strengthens pathways that are already there, offering a quiet, almost startling glimpse of how responsive the sleeping brain really is to outside guidance. Some of the newest research pushes that idea even further, guiding not just memory, but the actual content of a dream. New wearable devices can gently steer a dream's theme in the moments right before sleep fully sets in. As the body relaxes, sensors detect subtle shifts in breathing and muscle tone, and at exactly the right moment, the device plays a soft word chosen in advance, something like ocean or tree. That cue slips into the fragile, dreamlike state right at the edge of sleep, where brief flashes of imagery naturally appear. By morning, people often wake holding fragments of dreams built loosely around that theme, filled with unusually vivid and unexpected imagery. Early studies suggest these guided dreams can genuinely spark creativity and more flexible thinking, as though the sleeping brain had simply been nudged, gently, toward new and unfamiliar connections. Even the raw content of a dream is starting to leave traces scientists can actually read. Researchers have shown volunteers a series of images while scanning their brain activity, training an AI system to recognize how specific patterns correspond to particular shapes, textures, or categories. Later, while that same person sleeps, similar brain activity appears, and the AI uses it to reconstruct a rough approximation of what might be happening inside the dream. The results are blurry, more suggestion than snapshot. A face, a building, a forest, but they're often recognizable in a general sense. The technology remains limited. Still, it proves that dreams leave real, measurable footprints in the brain, and for the first time, researchers are beginning to glimpse a version of inner imagery almost as it happens. Not every dream, of course, is built primarily from images at all. People who are blind from birth still dream vividly, but their dreams unfold through whichever senses shape their waking life most strongly. Instead of pictures, they might experience voices and echoes that give a room its shape, textures beneath their hands, the vibration of nearby footsteps, or the warmth of remembered sunlight. Smell can define an entire setting, the sharpness of smoke or the sweetness of something baking nearby. These dreams carry every bit as much complexity and emotion as the visual kind. People who lose their sight later in life often continue dreaming in pictures for years, gradually shifting toward other senses over time. It's a gentle reminder that dreaming was never really about eyesight specifically. It's about the brain's natural talent for building an immersive, convincing reality out of whatever sensory material happens to be available to it. Let's rest here a moment. Breathe in slowly for a count of 4. Hold it. Let it go, slower than it came. Somewhere, right now, a sleeping mind is quietly building an entire world from nothing but memory, sensation, and the soft, patient dark. Let's turn now toward the sleeping brain itself, because underneath every dream is a genuinely remarkable piece of biology, working quietly through the night. For a long time, scientists assumed dreaming belonged only to REM sleep, the stage famous for rapid eye movements and vivid, surreal imagery. But when researchers gently wake people from other stages, especially the lighter stage called N2, many still report dreamlike thoughts and scenes. These non-REM dreams tend to be less bizarre, often involving ordinary daily activities, quiet worries, or straightforward problem-solving. Even in the deepest stage of sleep, dreams can still appear, sometimes with striking clarity. This discovery reshaped how researchers think about dreaming altogether. Rather than one isolated event tied to a single stage, it now looks more like a broad property of the sleeping brain, taking different shapes depending on exactly which networks happen to be active at any given moment. Eventually, researchers found something even more precise. Using high-density brain recordings during sleep, they identified a specific region toward the back of the brain, an area involved in processing vision, space, and body awareness, that they now call the posterior hot zone. When this region lights up with high-frequency activity, a sleeper is very likely to report a dream if woken. When it goes quiet, even during REM sleep itself, people often report no experience at all. This finding helps explain why dreaming shows up outside of REM in the first place. It's less about which stage you happen to be in, and more about whether this particular region is active. Different parts of that same hot zone even seem to correspond to different kinds of dream content, like faces, places, or movement. It's one of the clearest biological markers of dreaming scientists have found so far, offering a genuine way to glimpse when the brain is quietly constructing its own private film long before morning ever arrives. While that region works, the rest of the sleeping brain rebalances itself in a very particular way. Imaging studies show that emotional regions like the amygdala and hippocampus stay highly active during dreaming, while the brain's executive control center, the prefrontal cortex, becomes noticeably quieter. This shift helps explain why dreams so often feel intensely emotional and yet make so little logical sense. We accept sudden scene changes, strange contradictions, and impossible events without ever really questioning them. The emotional systems are running hot, while the logical editor sits quietly in the background. In lucid dreams, parts of that same frontal network switch back on, letting a dreamer realize they're dreaming and sometimes even take control. But even then, the emotional intensity tends to stay strong. Scientists suspect this particular balance may serve a real purpose. By turning down strict logic for a while, the brain gains room to explore feelings and memories more freely, rehearsing social or threatening situations, forming new connections it might never risk while fully awake. Underneath all of that sits a very particular chemical rhythm. During REM sleep, levels of a neurotransmitter called acetylcholine rise sharply, supporting the kind of vivid, immersive cortical activity that builds a dream's imagery. At the very same time, norepinephrine and serotonin, both linked to alertness and steady mood regulation, drop to unusually low levels. This specific combination goes a long way toward explaining why dreams feel so different from waking life. The brain stays highly active, but without its usual checks on logic and attention, which lets strange associations and surreal narratives flow far more freely than they ever could during the day. Dopamine activity follows a more mixed pattern of its own, which may help explain the particular emotional charge so many dreams carry. None of these shifts appear to be random. They seem carefully tuned to support memory processing and emotional resetting, which is also part of why certain medications, like antidepressants or nicotine patches, can noticeably change how intense or frequent our dreams become. That same quieting of the brain's inner critic is what lets a dream bend reality so freely in the first place. In ordinary waking life, part of the brain constantly monitors for errors, enforces logical rules, and keeps our thinking grounded. That network, centered in the prefrontal cortex, goes quiet during sleep, and without it, the part of the mind that would normally question inconsistency simply steps aside. That's why we accept impossible events inside a dream without blinking, teleporting instantly between locations, or calmly meeting someone who passed away long ago. The brain still builds a coherent story around all of it. The boundaries of that story, though, become remarkably flexible. When someone becomes lucid, parts of that same prefrontal network switch back on, letting the dreamer question what's happening, and sometimes deliberately steer the story from there. Scientists believe this temporary loosening of the rules may genuinely serve a function, giving the mind room to explore new ideas, test unusual scenarios, and shake loose from overly rigid patterns of thought. Dreams may bend physics not simply for fun, but possibly to help us think a little more flexibly once we're finally awake again. Threading quietly through all of this is a distinctive rhythm called theta activity, slow, rolling waves also present during moments of deep waking focus or vivid memory recall. During sleep, theta rhythms seem to help stitch together fragments of memory, emotion, and imagination into something that actually flows like a story. Without them, a dream might remain little more than a scattered jumble of disconnected images. Stronger theta activity during sleep tends to correlate with better memory integration and more vivid dream recall the next morning. Almost like a quiet thread, weaving separate pieces into one coherent tapestry. That weaving is likely part of why dreams so often connect surprising, seemingly unrelated elements. A conversation from yesterday, a place from childhood, a small worry about tomorrow, all bound together into a single unfolding scene. And even while all of this unfolds, the sleeping brain never fully closes its doors to the outside world. Slow, rolling waves that dominate non-REM sleep act almost like a gatekeeper, and during the peaks of these waves, the brain becomes more receptive to outside stimuli like sound or gentle touch, while during the troughs, it grows far less responsive. Play a sound during one of those receptive moments, and it's far more likely to be woven directly into the unfolding dream. Play the very same sound during a quieter moment, and it often passes by completely unnoticed. This gating may act as a kind of protective system, letting the brain stay mostly undisturbed while still catching whatever signals genuinely matter. It's one more small, quiet proof that dreaming was never truly sealed off from the world around it. The brain simply listens in waves, choosing carefully when to let a little of the outside slip gently into its own inner story. Let's turn now toward the body itself, because even while it lies almost perfectly still, it's doing far more than most of us ever realize. Under ordinary circumstances, the body goes almost completely still during REM sleep, a state called atonia, specifically to keep us from acting out whatever's happening inside a dream. Scientists have traced this mechanism to circuits in the brainstem and spinal cord, which send strong inhibitory signals during REM sleep that effectively silence most motor neurons, disconnecting the brain's own commands from the muscles that would otherwise carry them out. Without this system, dream movements would simply happen in real life, which is exactly what occurs in a rare condition called REM sleep behavior disorder. Animal studies confirm this directly. Disabling these same circuits causes cats or rodents to leap, run, or pounce in their sleep, physically acting out whatever their dreaming mind is doing. The paralysis isn't perfect either. Small twitches often slip through regardless, but overall, this quiet, careful system keeps a sleeping body safe while the mind wanders freely somewhere else entirely. Even locked in that stillness, the body keeps quietly responding to whatever's happening in the dream. When you dream of running, climbing, or playing an instrument, your muscles stay still, but inside your skull, the motor cortex, the exact region responsible for planning and executing movement, becomes almost as active as it would be if you were genuinely awake and moving. Brain scans confirm that dreaming about a specific action lights up the very same circuits used to control that action in waking life. This helps explain why practicing a skill during the day so often resurfaces at night. Musicians dream of playing scales, athletes dream of repeating familiar movements, and even people learning a new video game dream of the exact patterns they were practicing hours earlier. The body stays safely locked by paralysis, but the rehearsal itself seems to genuinely strengthen motor memory. Dreamers sometimes wake performing slightly better at a skill, as though their brain had quietly kept training while the rest of them slept. That paralysis, careful as it is, isn't entirely airtight. Small twitches often slip through anyway. A finger jerks, a foot kicks gently, or the eyes dart rapidly beneath closed lids. For a long time, these small movements looked essentially random, but research increasingly shows they can align directly with what's happening in the dream itself. A dream about kicking a ball might produce a faint leg twitch. A dream about speaking might trigger the smallest movement in the lips. In animals like cats and dogs, these twitches are often even easier to notice, and scientists suspect they represent brief bursts of motor commands slipping past the brainstem's usual careful block. Harmless and often barely noticeable, these small twitches offer researchers a genuine clue about what's unfolding inside a dream. Tiny sparks escaping, every now and then, from a much larger, hidden fire. The eyes themselves carry a similar kind of clue. The rapid eye movements that give REM sleep its name are more than simple, random twitching. In many cases, they line up directly with wherever the dreamer happens to be focusing their attention inside the dream itself, an idea researchers call the scanning hypothesis. This has been tested directly with lucid dreamers, who agree beforehand to move their eyes in specific patterns whenever they look in a particular direction inside the dream: left, right, up, or down. When recorded, those signals often line up precisely with the dreamer's stated intentions. Tracking a moving object inside a dream can even produce the same kind of rhythmic eye movement you'd see someone make while genuinely watching something move in waking life. Not every eye movement during sleep reflects dream content directly. Some are simply generated by the brainstem on their own, but enough of them correspond to imagined gaze shifts that scientists now use these movements as genuine time markers, linking specific dream events to measurable brain activity, moment by moment. Even the pupils, invisible in the dark of a closed eyelid, quietly mirror whatever's unfolding inside a dream. While awake, our pupils widen and narrow in response to more than just light. Surprise, excitement, and mental effort all shift their size too. Remarkably, something very similar happens during sleep. Using infrared cameras, researchers have found that pupils continue shifting size in ways that closely match reported dream content, even with the eyes fully closed. When dreamers report excitement or fear, their pupils tend to dilate. When they describe calm, their pupils constrict instead. These shifts occur right alongside rapid eye movements, offering scientists yet another quiet window into the hidden activity of dreaming, proof that emotions during sleep aren't purely imagined. They carry real, physical signatures, silently echoing the intensity of whatever the sleeping mind happens to be experiencing at that exact moment. That same physical echo reaches the heart and lungs as well. Even with the body paralyzed, internal systems continue responding directly to dream content. Researchers who monitor heart rate and breathing during sleep have found these signals often reflect the emotional intensity of a dream in progress. A frightening chase might send the heart racing, while a peaceful dream can noticeably slow the rhythm of breathing. In some studies, lucid dreamers were able to deliberately slow their own breathing from inside the dream, and the change showed up clearly on outside monitors watching them sleep. Even lying perfectly still, with the mind wandering somewhere else entirely, the body keeps quietly responding to every emotional turn of the story, proof of just how real these nightly experiences genuinely feel, even from the inside of a body that never technically moves at all. Sleep paralysis itself sits at an especially strange crossing point between waking and dreaming. It occurs when the brain regains consciousness before the body has fully released its own paralysis, leaving a person awake, aware, but almost entirely unable to move. The experience often comes paired with vivid hallucinations, footsteps, voices, or the unsettling sense of a presence in the room, because part of the brain is technically still dreaming even as the rest of it wakes up. It can be genuinely frightening, and across many cultures, it has inspired entire mythologies of demons, ghosts, and night visitors. Episodes almost always last less than a minute and resolve entirely on their own. They're not dangerous, though they can leave a lingering unease behind. Regular sleep, lower stress, and small adjustments to sleep position can all help reduce how often they occur, and simply understanding what's actually happening tends to make the experience noticeably less frightening the next time it arrives. There's a rarer, stranger cousin to that experience too, a condition with a dramatic name and a surprisingly harmless reality, known as exploding head syndrome. People experience a sudden, extremely loud noise right as they're falling asleep or waking up, something like a gunshot, a crash, or an explosion, sometimes paired with a flash of light or a small physical jolt. No actual sound occurs at all. The brain itself generates the entire perception, likely from a brief glitch in how sensory networks shut down at the very onset of sleep, momentarily firing all at once instead of settling in order. The episode passes quickly, though it can leave the heart racing for a moment afterward. Some people experience it only once or twice in an entire lifetime. Others notice it more regularly. Either way, it isn't a sign of danger or damage, simply one of the many strange, harmless little fireworks the sleeping mind occasionally sets off entirely on its own. Let's rest here again for a moment. Let your own breathing settle, slow and even, the way it settles naturally once a dream turns calm. No need to track it, no need to hold it. Just let it happen, quietly, on its own. Let's turn now toward the actual content of dreams themselves, the shapes, themes, and strange patterns that seem to echo across nearly every sleeping mind. Our waking lives leave clear fingerprints on our dreams almost immediately, a pattern researchers call day residue. Ordinary events from the day often resurface that very same night. But researchers have also found something stranger sitting alongside it. Many experiences reappear again after a delay of roughly a week, an effect known as dream lag. This particular delay shows up in both emotional experiences and newly learned tasks, almost as though the brain first stabilizes a fresh memory, then deliberately revisits it several days later to weave it into a much broader network. When these delayed memories resurface, they rarely replay exactly as they happened. Instead, small fragments, a place, a sound, a fragment of conversation, combine with entirely different elements to form new scenes altogether. This dual timing hints that dreaming may be closely tied to the different stages memories pass through as they're consolidated, giving the brain more than one chance to sort, strengthen, and integrate whatever actually matters, while quietly letting the rest fade away. Many dreams, meanwhile, seem to function as a kind of rehearsal for danger. A striking number involve being chased, attacked, or trapped, and psychologists believe this may serve a genuine training purpose. The brain rehearsing threat in a completely safe environment, letting us practice a response without any real consequence at all. Studies comparing dream content directly to daily diary entries show that threatening scenarios appear far more often in dreams than they ever do in actual daily life. And interestingly, these dream threats tend to end in escape or resolution far more often than in real harm. Children, and people who have faced genuine danger in their waking lives, tend to report even more of these dream threats, suggesting the brain may genuinely be adapting to real experience. Not every nightmare turns out to be useful. In conditions like PTSD, dreams can become stuck in painful, repetitive loops of fear instead. But taken as a whole, the sheer prevalence of threat rehearsal supports the idea that dreams are more than random noise. They may function as a kind of built-in simulator, gently preparing us for real challenges while we sleep, and easing some of the emotional weight those same fears carry while we're awake. Dreams rehearse more than danger, though. They also seem to rehearse relationships. Most of the characters who appear in a dream are familiar faces: family, friends, co-workers, or blended composites drawn from several people we already know. Researchers call this the social simulation hypothesis, the idea that dreams let us practice the exact skills relationships require: negotiating, arguing, reconciling, empathizing, all safely contained inside an imagined scenario. Studies show dream reports are unusually rich in conversation and social interaction, often noticeably more than an ordinary waking day would actually contain. The brain regions responsible for understanding other people's thoughts and emotions stay active throughout, even while the more logical control regions sit quietly in the background. This particular balance may help us explore different social outcomes without the usual weight of overthinking them, essentially running through possible conversations in advance, testing reactions, and easing tension long before we ever have to face the real version. In its own strange way, dreaming gives us a nightly stage to simply practice being human. Even the more surreal content of ordinary dreams turns out to follow a genuine pattern of its own. Dream content rarely matches real events exactly. Instead, dreams take fragments from entirely different times and places and stitch them together into something new. A cafe you visited last week might merge seamlessly with a childhood memory, layered underneath a completely unrelated worry from yesterday. Neuroscience research suggests this happens because the hippocampus reactivates fragments of memory during sleep, while the cortex stitches those fragments together into fresh, unfamiliar patterns. This process may help extract broader meaning or general rules from very specific past experiences, and it may also fuel creativity directly, letting the brain freely test combinations it would likely never attempt during ordinary waking thought. Interestingly, people who dream specifically about a task they're learning often perform noticeably better at it the next day, as though the brain had spent the night quietly reorganizing and experimenting on its own. Dreams may look random on the surface. Their strange, mashed-together quality might be exactly what helps us learn, adapt, and grow. Even the very edges of sleep carry their own brief, fascinating flickers of experience. As you drift from full wakefulness into sleep, you pass through a brief, fragile stage called hypnagogia, lasting only a few minutes, during which the brain produces sudden bursts of imagery and sensation, swirling shapes, brief flashes of light, or fragments of faces that appear and vanish almost instantly. Some people feel a sudden jolt known as a hypnic jerk, often paired with the sensation of falling. Others hear brief bursts of sound, or even fragments of voices. These aren't full dreams yet, but they reveal just how quickly the mind begins assembling sensory fragments into something story-shaped. Because this state is so unusually suggestible, even a single stray word or thought can shape what briefly appears, which is exactly why so many artists and scientists have used this fragile window as a spark for creativity, gently catching ideas that seem to surface only right at the very edge of sleep. The reverse transition, waking up, carries its own quiet strangeness too. As the brain reactivates, dream imagery doesn't always disappear instantly. Instead, fragments can linger briefly in a state called hypnopompia, a voice fading, a face still hovering, an entire scene slowly dissolving like mist. Sometimes these lingering echoes blend directly with the real, waking bedroom, creating a brief, strange overlap between the dream world and the one you're actually lying in. This is most common right after REM sleep, when the brain's scene-building regions are still highly active and its logical control has only just started to return. For most people, these moments are brief and gentle, fading within minutes. For others, especially those with narcolepsy, they can feel far more vivid and frequent, sometimes paired with sleep paralysis. Either way, they reveal just how fragile the boundary between dreaming and waking really is, the mind needing a small, quiet moment simply to decide which world it's actually in. Time itself bends strangely inside a dream. A few minutes of ordinary sleep can feel like an entire hour of dream time, filled with elaborate events and long, sprawling journeys. Other times, a dream that felt complete and fully lived might have actually lasted only a few seconds. Experiments with lucid dreamers help measure this directly. When asked to count to 10 inside a dream and signal the start and end with their eyes, most dreamers counted at roughly the same pace they would while fully awake, suggesting basic timing stays largely intact. The stretching seems to come instead from how dreams skip past ordinary transitions, compressing entire sequences of action into a handful of vivid highlights. Emotional intensity can expand our sense of duration too, the same way an especially vivid waking day can feel unusually long. The result is dream time that feels genuinely elastic, sometimes racing forward, sometimes lingering, giving the impression of entire stories unfolding inside the space of a single, ordinary sleep cycle. Even in deep sleep, your ears stay partly open to the world around you. The brain filters out most background noise, but certain sounds slip through regardless, and instead of waking the sleeper, they're often woven directly into whatever story is already unfolding. A slamming door might become a clap of thunder. A dog barking outside might turn into an animal somewhere inside the dream itself. A song playing softly in another room can become the exact music playing in a dream zone background. Researchers use this exact effect to study memory, playing specific tones to help reactivate something learned earlier in the day. These cues slip in especially easily during REM sleep, when the brain is highly active but far less critical of what it's actually perceiving. It's one more sign that dreaming was never truly cut off from the outside world. A constant, quiet balancing act between inner signals and the occasional hint slipping in from outside, woven seamlessly into whatever story the sleeping brain happens to already be telling. Light slips through in a similar way. Even with your eyes closed, light can still reach the retina, and brief pulses are enough to trigger a response in the visual system. When this happens during sleep, the brain often explains the sudden flash by weaving it directly into the dream. A burst of light might become a bolt of lightning, a camera flash, or the sudden flare of oncoming headlights. Researchers have tested this directly, shining gentle, safe pulses of light on sleeping volunteers, many of whom later reported dreams that included flashes of brightness folded neatly into the story. Stronger or poorly timed light usually wakes the sleeper outright, but subtler flashes are often absorbed completely seamlessly. This effect helps researchers track sleep stages and even attempt, in small ways, to gently influence dream content. More than anything, it shows how hard the sleeping brain works to keep its own stories coherent. Rather than simply ignoring an unexpected signal, it explains it, quietly folding outside reality into whatever dream is already in progress. Among all the sounds that might reach a sleeper, one in particular stands out clearly from the rest: your own name. Studies show that hearing your own name produces a noticeably stronger brain response than hearing other, unrelated words, even while you remain fully unconscious. It can trigger a distinct brain pattern called a K-complex during lighter sleep, or be woven directly into an ongoing dream during REM. People often describe hearing their name called, or dreaming that someone nearby was speaking to them, only to later realize the sound had actually been real. The brain seems specifically tuned to treat personally relevant cues as special, keeping a narrow line of attention open even while almost everything else gets quietly blocked out. This makes a good deal of evolutionary sense. Being able to respond to your own name, even deeply asleep, could genuinely matter for survival. For any dreamer, it's a small, telling reminder that sleep was never complete disconnection. The mind keeps monitoring its surroundings the entire time, and the signals that matter most personally always seem to find their own way in. Physical pain, interestingly, shows up far less often in dreams than the intensity of most nightmares would suggest, and when it does appear, it usually feels different from waking pain, less sharp, shorter, or strangely muted. Even people living with real injuries or chronic pain sometimes report pain inside their dreams, but even then, it often shifts, fades, or transforms into something more symbolic. Scientists suspect several overlapping reasons for this. During sleep, the brainstem dampens ordinary sensory input, and the chemicals most closely linked to pain signaling drop to unusually low levels. At the same time, attention inside a dream tends to focus far more on imagery and emotion than on constant bodily monitoring. This may help explain why so many dreams revolve around fear, pursuit, or conflict rather than physical suffering itself. Pain can still appear on occasion, but it rarely takes center stage, and understanding that difference can genuinely help clinicians too, since pain reported during sleep can sometimes point toward an underlying condition precisely because it stands out so clearly against the normal, muted background of ordinary dream life. Taste and smell, similarly, appear only rarely in dreams, and when they do, they tend to stay simple. A sip of something sweet, the scent of smoke, a fleeting, half-noticed flavor. And yet, even unnoticed, these senses can quietly steer a dream's emotional tone. Smell in particular carries unusual power here, given how closely it connects to memory and emotion in general. Experiments show that pleasant scents introduced during sleep tend to make dreams noticeably calmer, while unpleasant ones can darken the overall mood instead. People whose waking lives revolve heavily around taste and smell, chefs or perfumers, for instance, sometimes report unusually rich sensory detail in their own dreams as a result. For most of us, these particular senses play a smaller, supporting role, closer to background lighting or quiet music than to the main plot. But they still color the emotional temperature of the story, a gentle reminder that dreams are built from the raw material of our senses, and even the faintest, most unnoticed cue can shift the entire direction of a dream's feeling. Color, too, carries more nuance than most people expect. Modern studies consistently find that the large majority of dreams appear in full color. Earlier research from the middle of the 20th century found far more reports of black and white dreaming, but scientists now believe that shift was heavily influenced by culture rather than biology. People who grew up watching black and white film and television were simply more likely to describe their dreams the same way. As color media became the norm, so did colorful dream reports. Today, most people describe their dreams as being in color, though black and white dreams still happen occasionally. The colors themselves aren't always vivid, either. Sometimes they're muted, and sometimes only a single detail stands out clearly, like a red coat or a bright green sign glowing against an otherwise unremarkable scene. Many dreamers don't even consciously notice color at all until they're specifically asked about it, suggesting the brain fills in an entire scene so naturally that color simply feels automatic, an invisible assumption rather than a deliberate detail. It's a small reminder that dreaming isn't only a biological event. It's shaped, quietly, by the cultural world each of us happens to grow up inside. Let's pause here for the tagline that's become a little ritual of its own on this channel. Because if any of this is helping your mind unwind tonight, and you'd like more of these slow drifts through the strange and the vast, you're welcome to stay a while longer or come back another night. One quiet mind at a time. That's really all this is for. Now, back into the dark and into some of the more unusual patterns dreams can take. A false awakening is exactly what it sounds like, dreaming that you've woken up, only to realize, sometimes much later, that you're actually still asleep. People often describe getting out of bed, starting their ordinary morning routine, even brushing their teeth, before suddenly discovering they're still inside a dream. Occasionally, this happens more than once in a row, creating a strange loop of waking up again and again before genuinely returning to reality. These experiences can feel disorienting, especially when paired with sleep paralysis or lingering dream imagery from earlier in the night. For lucid dreamers, a false awakening can actually serve as a useful clue that they're still asleep, offering a chance to regain awareness and explore further. For others, it can feel simply unsettling, leaving them briefly unsure of when they're truly, finally awake. It's a vivid reminder of just how convincing a dream world can become. The brain capable of simulating not only fantastic, impossible landscapes, but the smallest, most mundane details of ordinary waking life as well. Ask people about their most memorable dreams, and two particular themes tend to surface again and again, almost regardless of culture or background. One is flying, soaring effortlessly over a landscape, drifting through open air, often carrying a distinct feeling of freedom. The other is losing teeth, a theme that tends to feel unsettling and strangely vivid in comparison. Both show up consistently in dream reports across countless cultures and eras, suggesting they tap into something close to universal human experience. Flying dreams may echo the physical sensation of weightlessness the body experiences during REM sleep. or they may reflect a deeper wish for freedom and control. Teeth-falling dreams are less pleasant, and theories tend to link them to anxieties about appearance, aging, or a broader loss of control, whether joyful or unsettling. These two recurring motifs are a reminder that dreaming often draws directly on shared human concerns, as though the sleeping mind carries its own quiet, symbolic language, repeated gently across centuries and continents. Many people also carry recurring dreams that seem to follow them for years, sometimes decades. The same unstudied exam, the same chase through dark, unfamiliar streets, the same sudden fall from somewhere high. Researchers studying long-term dream diaries have noticed something striking about these patterns. When the real, underlying concern at the heart of a recurring dream finally changes in waking life, the dream itself often quietly fades. A student who repeatedly dreams of failing an exam may find the dream simply stops once school ends. Someone who often dreams of being lost may notice the theme disappear entirely once a genuine uncertainty in their life finally resolves. This recurrence seems to signal that the brain hasn't yet fully settled some ongoing worry or unresolved conflict. Once the waking situation genuinely shifts, the dream no longer needs to keep repeating itself. It's a hopeful way to look at even the most persistent dream loops, a sign that the mind is still, patiently, working through something and waiting quietly for the moment it can finally let it go. Let's rest here a moment. Let your own thoughts settle the way a long-running dream eventually settles, once its underlying worry has finally, quietly resolved, no longer needing to repeat itself, simply allowed to rest. Let's turn now toward the more challenging side of dreaming, nightmares, and the surprisingly gentle ways science has learned to work with them. Nightmares aren't simply random noise. They're shaped directly by what's happening in daily life. During stressful periods, exams, arguments, grief, nightmares tend to occur more frequently, and their themes often echo those specific pressures, though usually in an exaggerated or symbolic form. Interestingly, as that underlying stress eases or resolves, nightmare frequency tends to decline right alongside it, suggesting the dreaming brain may genuinely be working through emotional weight, staging difficult scenarios until the feelings themselves finally ease. Nightmares are especially common in childhood, and they can spike again during particularly stressful periods in adulthood. While unpleasant, they may still serve a real function, rehearsing responses, gradually reducing emotional intensity, or simply signaling that something in waking life still feels unresolved. Understanding this connection helps explain why calming routines, therapy, and general stress reduction so often make nights feel more peaceful, letting the brain finally rest instead of endlessly replaying fear. Even when nightmares do become a genuine problem, treatment doesn't always require medication. One of the most effective, well-studied approaches is called imagery rehearsal therapy. It begins with simply writing down a recurring nightmare in detail, capturing the story exactly as it's remembered. Then, while fully awake, the person deliberately changes the ending. The monster becomes friendly, the fall turns into flying, the threat quietly dissolves before it ever strikes. That new version gets rehearsed in the imagination daily, training the brain to gradually expect a different outcome. Over time, when the nightmare returns, it often follows the newly rewritten script instead, or simply loses its power altogether. Studies show this approach can genuinely reduce both the frequency and distress of nightmares, especially for people living with post-traumatic stress. It works because the dreaming brain tends to reuse familiar waking imagery. By deliberately planting a new version of the story in advance, you quietly give it an alternative path to follow instead. For people living with post-traumatic stress disorder specifically, dreams can become a nightly replay of distressing events rather than a place of gentle processing. Instead of shifting and transforming the way most dreams naturally do, the brain repeatedly returns to the same scenes, sometimes with overwhelming sensory detail and emotional intensity. This repetition can make sleep itself feel like a source of dread, reinforcing anxiety rather than releasing it. Research links this pattern to overactivation in the amygdala, along with disruptions in the sleeping brain's normal chemistry. The usual, softening function of dreaming, meant to gently integrate emotional memories, gets stuck instead, preventing the healing it would normally support. These particular nightmares may replay a traumatic event almost exactly, or twist it into a symbolic version that still carries the same underlying fear. Understanding this pattern has helped shape therapies that address not only PTSD's waking symptoms, but the dream life sustaining them as well. A reminder that dreams, normally a space for creativity and gentle rehearsal, can sometimes become a stage for a memory that simply hasn't finished healing yet. The encouraging part is that this relationship with dreaming is rarely fixed. With the right guidance, even deeply unsettling dream patterns can genuinely shift over time, letting sleep gradually feel like a safe place again, rather than something to dread each night. Let's turn now towards some of the more surprising ways chemistry and biology can reshape the dreaming mind, sometimes in ways people never expect. Many antidepressants alter levels of serotonin and norepinephrine, two chemicals closely tied to regulating sleep. These medications often reduce the amount of REM sleep a person experiences, sometimes quite significantly, and people taking them frequently notice a real change in their dream life afterward. Some report fewer dreams or less vivid imagery. Others describe dreams that feel unusually intense or emotionally loaded instead. The effects vary considerably by specific medication and by individual. For some people, reduced REM sleep can genuinely ease distressing nightmares, which is part of why certain antidepressants are specifically used in treating post-traumatic stress disorder. For others, the same shift produces restless nights or unusual dream content instead. Either way, these findings highlight just how tightly dreaming is linked to brain chemistry. Medications designed primarily to shift mood can also, quietly, reshape the entire inner landscape of sleep. Nicotine patches carry a similar, well-documented surprise. People using them to help quit smoking often notice their dreams becoming unusually vivid, sometimes strikingly so. Nicotine stimulates receptors that also play a role in regulating both sleep and general brain activity, and when delivered steadily through the skin overnight, it can intensify the brain's visual imagery, producing dreams that feel unusually bright, bizarre, or memorable. Some people find these dreams genuinely creative and entertaining. Others describe them as unsettling or simply exhausting. The effect tends to fade as the brain gradually adapts, or once the patches are no longer needed. It's one more clear example of how substances designed for an entirely different purpose can shift the delicate chemical balance of sleep, revealing just how responsive the dreaming brain really is to even small chemical changes. Alcohol's relationship with dreaming turns out to be more complicated than its reputation as a simple sleep aid would suggest. After drinking, people often fall asleep more quickly, but alcohol actually suppresses REM sleep during the first half of the night, holding that particular stage back. As the alcohol wears off later, REM sleep rushes back in longer, more intense bursts, creating a genuine rebound effect. This rebound can produce vivid, restless, and occasionally disturbing dreams, often clustered in the early morning hours, and people may also wake more frequently during this period. making those particular dreams easier to remember afterward. This pattern helps explain why sleep after drinking so often feels less restorative, even after a full night in bed. The brain appears to genuinely insist on completing its REM cycles regardless, and when that process gets delayed, the eventual catch-up can feel overwhelming. What feels, in the moment, like deep, restful sleep is often really a restless negotiation between sedation and the brain's own quiet need to dream. Cannabis follows a broadly similar pattern of suppression followed by rebound. It interacts directly with brain systems that regulate sleep, particularly those involving certain neurotransmitters tied to relaxation and mood. Regular use tends to suppress dreaming overall, reducing both the number and vividness of dreams. Some people even report going weeks or months without recalling a single dream while using it regularly. But once someone stops, something notable tends to happen. Sleep rebounds, and the brain increases dream intensity considerably, often producing a genuine flood of vivid, sometimes bizarre dreams. This rebound can be surprising, especially for people who hadn't consciously remembered dreaming in years. The effect usually tapers off gradually as the brain readjusts. What might look like simple relaxation before bed can, over time, quietly reshape not only how deeply someone sleeps, but how richly they dream once that particular effect finally wears off. Beta blockers, medications commonly prescribed for high blood pressure or certain heart conditions, carry their own well-documented reputation for strange dreams. They work by blocking certain stress-related signals in the body, particularly ones involving adrenaline, and for reasons not yet fully understood, they can meaningfully disrupt sleep as a side effect. Many people starting beta blockers report unusually vivid dreams, strange imagery, or more frequent nightmares, sometimes noticeably more negative or emotionally charged than what they experienced before. Scientists suspect this effect comes from shifts in norepinephrine activity, since the medication alters how the brain regulates arousal and memory during sleep. While not dangerous, these experiences can genuinely be unsettling, and doctors sometimes adjust dosage or timing specifically to help reduce them. It's one more quiet reminder of just how tightly the chemistry of the body is linked to the stories we experience each night. Even medication aimed squarely at the heart can ripple outward, gently reshaping the sleeping mind. Pregnancy brings its own distinct shift in dream life. Many people notice their dreams becoming unusually intense, colorful, and emotionally charged during this time. Hormonal changes, especially in progesterone and estrogen, can alter overall sleep architecture and increase the amount of time spent in REM sleep specifically. At the same time, the body is undergoing rapid physical change, and the mind is actively preparing for an enormous life shift. And together, these factors seem to make dream content noticeably more vivid and memorable. Pregnant dreamers often describe scenarios involving water, animals, or themes of protection and vulnerability. Some researchers believe these dreams reflect the mind's own way of processing the anticipation, anxiety, and excitement surrounding new parenthood. Others point out that frequent nighttime awakenings during pregnancy naturally boost dream recall too, since dream memories fade quickly unless captured right away. Whatever the underlying cause, the especially vivid dream world so many people report during pregnancy seems to be one quiet way the brain rehearses, in advance, what it means to nurture new life. Fever carries a similarly strange effect on dreaming. Many people notice their dreams take on a surreal, sometimes unsettling quality whenever they're running a temperature. These fever dreams tend to be more vivid, distorted, or emotionally intense than an ordinary dream. Research suggests elevated body temperature can disrupt normal sleep cycles, leading to unusual patterns of brain activity. Higher temperatures may increase cortical activation and shift how sensory information gets processed, producing more vivid imagery and stranger narratives than usual. Some dreamers describe shifting colors, melting landscapes, or impossible creatures. Others report anxious themes, like being trapped or overwhelmed. Uncomfortable as it is, a fever dream may simply reflect the brain adapting to genuine physiological stress in real time. What's certain is that fever measurably changes how the sleeping brain operates, making its nightly stories both stranger and more memorable than they'd otherwise be. Sleep apnea, a condition where breathing repeatedly stops during the night, often without the sleeper ever realizing it, disrupts dreaming in its own particular way. Each pause in breathing forces a brief awakening, even when the person has no memory of it afterward, and these constant interruptions fragment normal sleep cycles, cutting directly into REM sleep. As a result, people with untreated sleep apnea often report fewer remembered dreams overall, since the brain struggles to sustain the continuous activity vivid dreaming usually requires. In some cases, though, those same frequent awakenings actually increase recall instead, catching dreams directly in progress before they can fade. Dream content in people with sleep apnea also tends to skew more anxious or distressing, likely reflecting the body's ongoing struggle for air, which may contribute to nightmares or a sense of panic upon waking. When people begin treating apnea with a CPAP machine, preventing those repeated breathing pauses, they often notice a dramatic shift in their dream life almost immediately. An initial surge of unusually vivid dreams as the brain finally catches up on lost REM time, gradually evening out into calmer, more restorative sleep over the following weeks. Narcolepsy blurs the usual boundary between waking and dreaming even further. People with this condition sometimes enter REM sleep almost immediately after dozing off, skipping the ordinary stages that normally come first, which can mean vivid dream imagery intrudes directly into otherwise waking moments. Someone might begin dreaming while still partly aware of their real surroundings, producing hallucinations that feel unusually real and occasionally frightening. These episodes often come paired with a sudden loss of muscle tone called cataplexy, especially during strong emotional moments like laughter or surprise. Narcoleptic dreams tend to be more vivid and bizarre than average, sometimes blending seamlessly with waking reality in a genuinely confusing way. Studying narcolepsy has given researchers real insight into just how flexible the boundary between sleep and wakefulness can be, and why dreaming, usually confined neatly to the night, can occasionally spill over into waking life instead. Cataplexy itself offers a striking glimpse of how closely emotion and paralysis are wired together in the brain. It's a sudden, temporary loss of muscle control, often triggered by strong emotion, laughter, excitement, sometimes anger, and it happens most frequently in people with narcolepsy. Researchers believe it reflects the exact same paralysis mechanism used during REM sleep, misfiring while the person is fully awake instead. Muscles may go limp, knees may buckle, and in some cases, the person collapses entirely, though consciousness itself usually stays intact the whole time. These episodes can be brief but genuinely disruptive, especially when triggered by an emotional or social moment. Studying cataplexy reveals just how tightly emotion is linked to the neural circuits that normally govern REM paralysis, suggesting the system may have evolved specifically to pair strong feeling with stillness, perhaps as part of some much older, ancient threat response. In narcolepsy, that same protective system simply misfires, offering researchers a vivid, unusual glimpse into dream physiology gone slightly astray. There's a related condition worth understanding gently, because it can be an important early signal. In REM sleep behavior disorder, the body's usual paralysis fails, and people physically act out their dreams, talking, shouting, kicking, sometimes even leaping from bed. Because the underlying dreams themselves are often intense, filled with action or conflict, the resulting movements can be sudden and occasionally dangerous, both to the sleeper and to anyone sharing the bed. Doctors typically recommend making the sleep environment safer, and in many cases prescribe medication to help reduce the abnormal activity. What makes this particular condition especially significant is its connection to long-term brain health. Long-term studies show that a substantial number of people diagnosed with this disorder go on to develop neurodegenerative conditions, including Parkinson's disease, years later. It doesn't mean everyone will, but it stands as one of the most reliable early warning signs currently known, offering patients and doctors alike a genuinely valuable window to monitor brain health well before any other symptoms would normally appear. What looks, on the surface, like nothing more than an unusual sleep pattern can sometimes be the very first, quiet clue of something happening much deeper, long before it ever becomes visible in waking life. Let's rest here again for a moment. Let your breathing settle back into its own calm rhythm, unhurried, steady, exactly the way it's meant to during the deepest, most restorative parts of the night. Let's turn now toward how dreaming itself changes gradually across an entire lifetime, and how much it can differ from one person to the next. Children's dreams aren't simply shorter versions of adult ones. They're genuinely shaped by how young minds and imaginations are still developing. Young children often describe dreams filled with animals, monsters, or simple adventures, rather than the complex social dramas more common in adult dreaming. Their storylines can feel fragmented too, closer to a series of snapshots than one continuous plot. As children grow older, their dreams gradually gain more structure, richer settings, and more realistic interactions, likely reflecting the maturing of the brain's visual and cognitive systems that support narrative and perspective-taking. Childhood dreams also tend to be more openly emotional, often involving themes of being chased, lost, or separated from a parent. Themes that may quietly mirror the ordinary challenges of growing independence. For many adults, looking back at these early dreams reveals something touching. The mind wasn't only rehearsing specific events, but the very act of learning how to make sense of the world in the first place. As children move into adolescence, dream content shifts again, quite noticeably. The simple, animal-filled stories of early childhood give way to more complex, socially charged scenarios. Teenagers frequently dream of school, friendships, and relationships, often with a heightened sense of emotional drama. Overall emotional intensity increases too, with more frequent themes of conflict, embarrassment, or early romance. Brain development helps explain this shift. During adolescence, the networks involved in self-awareness, identity, and social reasoning are changing rapidly, and dreams seem to closely mirror those emerging concerns. Dream reports from teenagers contain noticeably more conversation, more interpersonal conflict, and more peer interaction compared to younger children. These dreams may function as a kind of overnight rehearsal for navigating increasingly complex social challenges, testing responses safely within the dream world before ever facing them for real. For many teenagers, dreams can feel every bit as emotionally real as waking life, quietly reflecting the turbulent, ongoing process of growing up. Older adults, meanwhile, often report dreaming less, though the science suggests something slightly different is actually happening. Research indicates that the total amount of REM sleep, where the most vivid dreaming typically occurs, doesn't decline dramatically after early adulthood. What actually changes is dream recall. Older adults tend to wake less often in the middle of REM sleep, meaning they simply miss the natural opportunity to catch a dream before it fades. Memory processes shift somewhat with age too, making it a little harder to hold on to especially fleeting dream fragments. As a result, dreams can feel noticeably less frequent, even while they're likely still occurring at roughly the same rate as before. Interestingly, when older adults are gently woken directly from REM sleep in a lab setting, many can still report detailed, vivid dreams without any trouble. The content itself does shift somewhat with age too. Fewer chase scenes, fewer intense social conflicts, and more everyday, often calmer or more reflective situations. These changes suggest dreaming continues adapting across an entire lifetime, quietly mirroring the evolving priorities and emotional landscape of each stage of life in turn. Even something as ordinary as being a morning person or a night owl seems to shape the timing and tone of dreaming itself. This biological tendency, called chronotype, influences not only when someone feels most alert, but also when their dreams tend to feel most vivid. Morning types often experience stronger dream recall from earlier in the night, since their sleep pressure builds quickly and they reach deep sleep sooner than night owls typically do. Night owls, meanwhile, tend to have longer REM periods later in the night, leading to more memorable dreams closer to the morning. Dream themes may shift along with chronotype too. Evening types often report more social or adventurous dream content, while morning types tend to recall calmer, more routine scenes instead. These differences reflect how our internal circadian rhythms interact with sleep stages and brain chemistry more broadly. In a very real sense, your own natural sleep schedule quietly colors both the timing and the emotional tone of your inner nightly stories. Sleep itself moves through cycles roughly 90 minutes long, shifting between light sleep, deep sleep, and REM over and over throughout the night. Early in the night, REM periods tend to be brief, sometimes just a few minutes at a time. But as the night progresses, that pattern shifts considerably. Deep, slow-wave sleep shrinks, while REM periods steadily expand. By the early morning hours, a single REM period can last 40 minutes or more, making those final cycles of the night especially rich with vivid dreaming. This is exactly why people so often remember their very last dream most clearly. It happens right before waking, during the longest, most immersive REM stretch of the entire night. It also explains why cutting sleep short tends to reduce dream recall noticeably. Wake up too early, and you may simply miss the most dream-filled part of the night altogether. The natural rhythm of sleep builds steadily toward these longer, more immersive episodes, giving the brain plenty of time to consolidate memory, process emotion, and quietly construct the strange, vivid, colorful narratives we call dreams. That same late-night pattern is also when lucid dreaming tends to happen most easily. Because REM periods grow longer and the brain becomes especially active in these final hours, brief natural awakenings become more common too, creating small openings where awareness can slip gently into an ongoing dream without breaking it entirely. People who deliberately practice lucid dreaming techniques often set an alarm specifically to wake themselves briefly in the middle of the night, then return to bed shortly afterward, increasing their odds of entering REM sleep with the mind just slightly more alert than usual. Studies confirm that late-night REM sleep doesn't just last longer. It also tends to include more elaborate plots and more self-reflective moments, which may make it genuinely easier to recognize a dream as a dream while it's happening. For anyone hoping to explore lucid dreaming, timing turns out to matter just as much as any particular technique. The early morning hours are simply when the boundary between waking and dreaming grows thinnest, offering the clearest opportunity to step consciously inside. There's a reliable rhythm behind dream recall itself, too, and it can genuinely be trained with a little practice. Some people wake with a vivid, detailed story every single morning, while others rarely remember a single dream at all. Research shows this difference isn't purely about how much a person actually dreams, but about how they wake and how their brain handles memory during that particular transition. People who naturally wake more often during the night tend to remember more simply because they catch dreams directly in progress before they can fade. Brain imaging also shows that people who recall dreams frequently tend to have stronger activity in regions tied to memory and attention. The genuinely good news is that dream recall can improve with practice. Keeping a notebook by the bed, deliberately setting an intention to remember before falling asleep, and pausing quietly for a moment before moving in the morning can all make a real, measurable difference. Over time, even someone who almost never remembers dreaming can begin capturing fragments more regularly, gently opening a window into a world that would otherwise simply vanish every single morning. One of the simplest, most effective ways to strengthen that recall is deceptively easy: writing dreams down. Sleep researchers have found that people who keep a dream journal often notice a genuine improvement in recall within just a few nights. The physical act of writing seems to signal to the brain that dream content genuinely matters, so those memories linger a little longer after waking. It also strengthens the connection between the dream itself and the brain's ordinary waking memory systems. Even a single fragment, one image, one word, one lingering feeling, is worth writing down, since doing so tends to make the next dream a little easier to remember as well. Over several weeks, these journal entries often grow noticeably longer and more detailed. People who keep this habit regularly start to notice real patterns, recurring themes, emotional threads running quietly through many different nights. A dream journal doesn't just preserve memories after the fact. It gently trains the mind to pay closer attention to the night itself, turning what would otherwise be fleeting moments into lasting, legible stories. Relying only on morning recall, though, means missing a surprising amount of what actually happens over the course of an entire night. Research shows that people who are gently woken several times throughout the night report far more dreams overall, often pulled from lighter sleep stages that wouldn't normally be remembered at all. These particular dreams can be shorter, less dramatic, and occasionally more realistic than the vivid, elaborate stories typical of late-night REM sleep. By the time morning actually arrives, many of those earlier dreams have already faded, quietly overwritten by whatever came later in the night. This is part of why people who naturally wake several times overnight tend to recall more dreams overall. For anyone genuinely curious about the full scope of their own dream life, deliberately interrupting sleep briefly can increase the total number of dreams recalled, though it may come at some real cost to how rested a person actually feels the next day. Either way, it highlights just how fragile dream memory truly is. Most of an entire night's inner activity simply disappears the moment full waking consciousness fully returns. When REM sleep is deliberately withheld, the brain seems to keep careful track of exactly what it's owed. In sleep labs, volunteers prevented from entering REM sleep for a night or two will plunge into it noticeably faster the following night, and REM periods themselves become longer and more frequent, almost as though the brain is deliberately making up for lost time. This phenomenon is called REM rebound, and dream reports from these particular rebound nights tend to be especially vivid, emotional, and intense, sometimes even a little overwhelming, occasionally including multiple nightmares or unusually elaborate storylines in a single night. The phenomenon strongly suggests REM sleep isn't optional at all. The brain genuinely needs it, and when it's suppressed, it actively compensates once given the chance. Alcohol, caffeine, or simply a long stretch of wakefulness can all delay or block REM sleep temporarily, which helps explain the unusually wild dreams people so often report the first time they finally get a full night's rest afterward. REM rebound, in a sense, is the brain quietly insisting on completing its nightly work, no matter how long that work happens to be delayed. Let's rest for a moment here. Let your own breathing settle into that same unhurried, natural rhythm. No need to rush toward anything, no debt to repay tonight. Just rest, exactly the way the body already knows how. Let's turn now toward lucid dreaming specifically, and the techniques people have developed to gently guide themselves toward it. Once someone becomes lucid inside a dream, maintaining and directing that awareness tends to take real practice. At first, people who become lucid often feel so excited that they wake up almost immediately. Even if they manage to stay asleep, their early control is often only partial. A dreamer might manage to look at their own hands or float briefly upward, only to lose focus as the dream shifts away beneath them. With practice, though, control tends to become far more reliable. Experienced lucid dreamers often describe stabilizing an unraveling dream by rubbing their hands together, spinning slowly in place, or focusing intently on small physical details like texture or sound. These small actions seem to help anchor the mind more firmly inside the dream itself. Over time, dreamers learn to shape their surroundings, summon objects, or deliberately steer the unfolding story. The key, most report, is balance. Too much effort can break the dream entirely, while gentle, relaxed focus tends to keep it going smoothly instead. It's a genuinely delicate craft, closer to handling a canvas that holds together best under patient, steady attention rather than force. That same fragile control has proven remarkably useful for rehearsing real skills. Athletes have reported running full training drills inside lucid dreams. Dancers rehearse entire pieces of choreography, and musicians play through complete pieces of music, all with vivid, convincing sensory detail. Brain imaging confirms that during these dream rehearsals, the motor cortex and other movement-related brain regions activate in patterns closely resembling genuine physical practice. Some research suggests people who deliberately rehearse a task inside a lucid dream may perform measurably better once awake, as though the brain had quietly strengthened the relevant pathways through pure mental simulation alone. The dream world offers a strange kind of practice space where mistakes carry no real risk, and entirely impossible scenarios become available to explore freely. Imagine rehearsing a difficult speech in front of an audience that never judges, or attempting a daring move with absolutely no fear of actually falling. More research is still needed to understand exactly how much of that improvement genuinely transfers into waking performance. But the underlying possibility, training real skills while fully asleep, remains a remarkable and deeply intriguing idea. For people troubled by frequent nightmares, lucid dreaming can offer a genuine, direct escape route from the inside. Once someone becomes aware they're dreaming, they can sometimes actively change the unfolding story, confronting a monster directly, transforming a terrifying scene into something safer, or simply choosing to end the dream altogether. Studies show that people who learn lucid dreaming techniques often report noticeably fewer nightmares overall, along with less distress on the occasions nightmares still occur. This shift isn't always about turning a frightening dream into something pleasant, either. Sometimes it's simply about recognizing, clearly, that the danger inside the dream isn't actually real, and that single moment of recognition alone can meaningfully reduce fear on its own. In some cases, people even use their own lucidity to face a specific fear directly, testing entirely new responses safely within the dream world itself. Not everyone can reliably achieve lucidity, but for those who can, it offers a genuinely remarkable tool, the quiet ability to reshape fear from the inside out, transforming what would otherwise be a night terror into a real opportunity for calm and control. There are several well-studied ways people work toward this particular skill. One popular method involves performing simple reality checks throughout an ordinary day, trying to push a finger gently through your own palm, or reading the same short line of text twice to see whether it changes. The underlying idea is to make this small habit so automatic that it eventually happens inside a dream as well. Because dreams so often distort ordinary physical laws, the check tends to fail in a noticeable way once you're actually dreaming. The finger passes straight through, or the text shifts unexpectedly the second time you look. That small moment of surprise can spark genuine lucidity, letting a person realize they're dreaming without ever fully waking up. Research shows that people who practice regular reality checks during the day are measurably more likely to become lucid at night, essentially planting a small seed of awareness directly into the unconscious mind ahead of time. Over weeks of practice, that daytime habit of gently questioning reality can genuinely carry over into sleep, opening up real opportunities to explore the dream world with intention. A more structured technique, sometimes called mild, was developed specifically to help prime the mind toward noticing when it's dreaming. The practice begins by waking briefly after a few hours of sleep, once REM periods are naturally growing longer. Before falling back asleep, the person recalls a recent dream in careful detail, then repeats a simple, deliberate intention. Something like, "The next time I'm dreaming, I will remember that I'm dreaming." This combination of memory rehearsal and clear intention setting seems to help carry a small thread of awareness directly into the next REM cycle. In studies, this technique has significantly increased the likelihood of achieving a lucid dream, especially when combined with a brief period of nighttime wakefulness beforehand. It works, in part, because it takes advantage of the brain's own natural tendency to replay recent memories during sleep. By deliberately focusing attention on the simple idea of noticing, a person essentially trains themselves to recognize the telltale signs of dreaming while it's actually happening. A related method, often called wake back to bed, is considered one of the more reliable techniques overall. It's refreshingly simple. After sleeping for roughly 4 to 6 hours, a person wakes deliberately for a short period, often somewhere between 20 and 60 minutes. During that brief window, they might read about lucid dreaming or simply practice setting a clear intention before returning to bed. Because REM periods naturally run longer in the early morning hours, this deliberate return to sleep often drops a person directly into a fresh dream. The brief period of wakefulness beforehand also leaves the brain slightly more alert than usual, making it noticeably easier to notice the telltale signs of dreaming once it begins. Studies show this method, especially when paired with the intention-setting technique described earlier, can meaningfully boost overall success rates. It can feel counterintuitive to deliberately interrupt a night's sleep this way, but many dedicated dreamers find the payoff, consciously stepping into a dream world with real awareness, well worth the brief loss of continuous rest. A newer approach cycles gently through the senses themselves rather than relying purely on intention. As a person lies in bed, they focus first on whatever they can perceive behind their closed eyes, then shift attention to ambient sound, then finally to bodily sensations like touch or their own heartbeat, repeating this simple cycle several times without forcing anything. The exercise seems to prime the brain to notice subtle differences between ordinary waking perception and the slightly different texture of dream perception. In studies, people who practiced this technique after a brief nighttime awakening reported more lucid dreams overall. The method requires no special equipment at all and tends to work best when approached with simple curiosity rather than deliberate effort, since pushing too hard can easily keep a person fully awake instead. For many practitioners, it becomes something closer to a calming nightly ritual, one that occasionally, quietly, opens a door straight into conscious dreaming. There's even a specific medication that researchers have found can significantly boost the odds of a lucid dream. Originally developed to help treat memory decline in conditions like Alzheimer's disease, it works by boosting levels of acetylcholine, a neurotransmitter deeply involved in attention and sleep regulation. Sleep researchers discovered that a small dose taken during the night, often combined with the wake-back-to-bed method described earlier, can sharply increase the chances of experiencing a lucid dream. In studies, success rates have more than doubled compared to purely mental techniques alone. Dreamers using this approach not only became lucid more often, but their dreams tended to be longer and noticeably more vivid as well. Still, this isn't something to be taken lightly or casually. It can cause side effects like nausea or changes in heart rate, and should never be used without proper medical supervision. The underlying finding remains genuinely important, though. It shows just how directly chemical shifts can influence dream awareness, offering real insight into how carefully the sleeping brain balances its own delicate chemistry each and every night. Let's turn now, gently, toward dreaming beyond the human mind, because we may not be the only creatures spending part of the night quietly rehearsing. Some of the clearest evidence for memory replay during sleep actually comes from research with rats. In these experiments, rats are trained to run through a maze while scientists record electrical activity from specific neurons in the hippocampus. Each individual location inside the maze activates its own distinct set of place cells. Later, while the rat sleeps, those same cells fire again in the very same order, only much faster, almost as though the rat's brain were replaying the entire route in fast motion. Sometimes that replay even runs in reverse, as if the sleeping brain were reviewing the path backward, from finish line to starting point. These reactivations happen during brief bursts of activity called sharp wave ripples, closely tied to memory consolidation. The findings strongly suggest that sleep is never truly idle. The brain uses these quiet hours to actively practice, strengthen, and reorganize recent experience, so that the next time the animal runs that same maze, it genuinely performs a little better. Birds appear to rehearse in a remarkably similar way. In sleep labs, researchers recording neural activity in young birds during sleep have found patterns that closely replay the exact same sequences used when the birds sing during the day. In some cases, a sleeping bird even produces faint, barely audible vocalizations, as though quietly rehearsing under its breath. This replay is thought to help fine-tune the timing and structure of a bird's song, which matters enormously for both communication and courtship. In experiments where sleeping birds hear recordings of an older bird's song, their brain activity shifts as though they're actively integrating that new material in real time. By morning, their own practice songs often sound noticeably more polished than the night before. It's a striking suggestion that dreaming, in some broad sense, may play a role in learning across many species, not only our own. For a young bird, the night becomes something like a private rehearsal hall, circuits quietly strengthened and melodies gently shaped, all while the animal simply rests. Octopuses offer one of the more visually startling hints of animal dreaming. During certain phases of sleep, an octopus's skin will suddenly ripple through shifting colors and patterns, almost exactly the way it would while actively camouflaging or signaling while awake. Except no predator, no mate, and no audience of any kind is actually present. Researchers studying this phenomenon believe it may reflect something like an internal, dreamlike state, the octopus's nervous system replaying colors and patterns associated with real waking experiences. Whether this genuinely constitutes dreaming in any sense resembling our own remains an open question, but the visible display is striking regardless. A silent, private light show, playing out entirely for its own sake, deep in the stillness of sleep. Even animals we consider deeply intelligent don't always sleep or dream the way we might expect. Elephants, for instance, sleep remarkably little compared to most other large mammals, sometimes only a couple of hours a night, and researchers have found surprisingly little direct evidence of REM sleep in wild elephants specifically. This raises a genuine, open question about whether elephants dream in anything resembling the way we do, or whether they replay memories and process emotion through some entirely different mechanism, perhaps during other stages of rest instead. Their unusual sleep patterns are a useful reminder that there's no single universal blueprint for how a brain restores itself overnight. Even among some of the most intelligent species we know, dolphins face an entirely different challenge altogether, since they must surface regularly to breathe, even while resting. Their solution is called unihemispheric slow-wave sleep, shutting down one half of the brain at a time while the other half stays fully awake, letting one eye remain open so the dolphin can keep swimming, surfacing, and watching carefully for predators the entire time. This raises a genuinely fascinating mystery. Do dolphins dream at all? Because ordinary REM sleep usually involves full-body paralysis, that state would be genuinely dangerous for an animal that has to keep moving simply to breathe. Studies suggest dolphins experience either very brief bursts of REM sleep or some kind of significantly modified version of it instead. Some researchers believe dolphins may still experience something like dreamlike imagery, though it likely looks quite different from the vivid humankind. Others suspect dolphins may have evolved to dream less overall, or in some entirely different way altogether. In the vast, demanding expanse of the open ocean, survival itself may have gently reshaped the very nature of dreaming. The name scientists use for REM sleep, sometimes called paradoxical sleep, points directly at its strangest quality. To an outside observer, a person in REM sleep looks deeply, completely asleep, muscles limp, body perfectly still. But inside the skull, the brain is buzzing with activity, and brain waves during this stage actually resemble wakefulness far more closely than they resemble deep, dreamless sleep. It's a genuine paradox, the body fully immobilized, while the brain stays alive with rapid patterns, sudden emotional surges, and vivid imagery. This puzzled researchers deeply when they first measured it clearly back in the 1950s. How could someone appear entirely unconscious while their brain looked, in so many ways, wide awake? Today, we understand this paradox sits right at the very heart of dreaming itself. Sleep was never a simple switch that turns the mind off completely. It's a shifting, layered balance of states where deep physical rest and genuine mental activity coexist together, night after night, in an ongoing, patient rhythm of restoration and imagination. The amygdala, that small, almond-shaped structure deep in the brain responsible for processing emotion, especially fear, becomes unusually active during this same stage, right as the prefrontal cortex, the seat of logic and self-control, grows quiet. This particular combination goes a long way toward explaining why dreams so often feel intensely emotional and genuinely unpredictable. We can feel utterly terrified one moment and completely euphoric the next, without ever questioning the contradiction while it's happening. This heightened amygdala activity may serve a real purpose too. Some researchers believe it helps the brain revisit emotionally loaded memories inside a genuinely safe context, gently reducing their sting by reliving them without any real consequence attached. The quieting of executive control, meanwhile, simply lets emotion play out more freely, unfiltered by the usual weight of waking reason. Dreams, seen this way, may function as a kind of nightly workshop where the brain quietly experiments with difficult emotions, helping us adapt, little by little, to whatever challenges waking life happens to bring. Let's slow all the way down now and gather the vast, gentle picture we've built together tonight. Sharing a dream with someone you trust can be its own quiet form of intimacy. Dreams are often strange, vulnerable, and deeply personal, reflecting our fears and desires in a kind of disguised, symbolic form. Studies suggest that couples who regularly share their dreams with one another often feel closer and more connected as a result. Talking through a dream can spark conversations about emotion that might never otherwise come up, from a hidden anxiety to an unspoken hope. It can invite genuine empathy too, as one partner reflects gently on how the other's dream characters and themes might connect to their real, waking life. Some therapists even use dream sharing deliberately as a tool for building closer relationships. Dreams themselves may be fleeting, but the conversations they inspire can deepen a bond considerably. Sharing a dream, in a very real sense, is a small way of saying, "Here is the private theater of my mind. I trust you enough to let you inside it." And most of the characters populating that private theater, it turns out, are far less like strangers than they first appear. It's easy to assume our dreams are crowded with unfamiliar faces, but research suggests the opposite is usually true. Most dream characters are people we actually know, family, friends, or coworkers, sometimes blended together or subtly disguised, but still rooted firmly in real memory. Even when a dream figure seems, at first, like a total stranger, research suggests the dreamer has very likely seen that exact face before, perhaps only in passing on a street, or briefly in an old photograph. The brain appears to quietly recycle real, remembered images, even ones we never consciously registered in the first place. This suggests dreaming may be, in part, a way of processing social knowledge more broadly, gently revisiting and reshaping our understanding of the people who move through our lives. The characters who appear each night aren't random at all. They're drawn carefully from an entire lifetime of encounters, a quiet reminder of just how much of our inner world is built from memory, storing countless small impressions that resurface, unexpectedly, long after we assumed we'd forgotten them. Even after everything we've wandered through tonight, dreaming still keeps its very best secrets close. For all the studies, theories, and careful experiments, dreaming remains, at its core, genuinely mysterious. We know the brain stays remarkably active during sleep, replaying memories, processing emotion, weaving vivid, coherent stories out of almost nothing. We know that cues from the outside world can slip quietly in, and that shifting brain chemistry shapes the intensity of what we experience each night. We even know that other animals may experience something like dreaming too, in their own particular way. And yet the ultimate purpose behind all of it is still genuinely debated. Is it practice for survival? A tool for creativity? Simply a natural byproduct of an active brain resting? Perhaps it's all of these things at once. Perhaps it's something else entirely, something science hasn't quite found language for yet. Dreams resist easy, simple explanation, and maybe that's exactly as it should be. A quiet reminder that not every mystery exists purely to be solved quickly. Some are simply there to be wondered about, explored gently, and imagined, night after night, for as long as we keep closing our eyes. As you drift off tonight, you may find yourself stepping, once again, into that same private, ever-changing theater, carried gently by your own sleeping mind, built from nothing but memory, emotion, and whatever quiet material your own particular life has given it to work with. You might soar. You might wander through somewhere half familiar. You might meet a face you haven't thought about in years, standing somewhere it has no business being. However strange, or vivid, or gentle it turns out to be, that particular story belongs entirely to you. A private theater, quietly opening its doors again, exactly as it always does, the moment you finally let yourself rest. Let your own breathing settle now, slow and unhurried, the way it settles every single night, whether you notice it or not. There's nothing left to figure out, nothing left to solve before sleep arrives. Whatever waits for you tonight, on the other side of these words, is already quietly getting ready, somewhere in the dark, patient, familiar, and entirely your own. Rest now. You've earned it. Good night.